Hello everyone, welcome to my session about Charticulator and how we can create a custom visual inside Power BI without writing any code. So it's a self-service custom visual creator. We are going to see that how we can to use it. First of all, just explore past has different actually events happen in past, and it's a community that we have. So we have local user groups, so definitely check out the local user group around the world about BI and also SQL Server. So we have BI edition and also the SQL Server, so definitely check that. Also another interesting about past is SQL Saturday that's happened again around the world, and you will find in your city there should be one organizer, so just in touch with them and get alert about the what is happening. And also we have there is past marathon, past virtual groups, and also there are lots of volunteers involved in creating material, presenting, and also helping to have a better community in SQL Server and in general in data, Microsoft data. So just check that past.org, just check that website. Also, it's really important to receive your feedback about the sessions. Is help us all speakers and organizers to have a better conference and session for the future. So please submit your evaluation before 20th of November. About me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. But before that, let's introduce myself. I'm Leila Etaati. I'm living in Auckland, New Zealand. I'm AI and data platform Microsoft MVP. Means that I'm working on AI options in different data platform from Power BI, SQL Server, in Data Azure, and also in Power Apps and Flow. So I'm looking on different AI options that we have there, and mostly focus on the no-code, low-code options, because that's the things that most business users are looking that one. And also I'm checking most of the R and Python and how we can write them inside different platforms in Microsoft platforms. And so that's why I have some speaking in different conferences, and also I wrote a couple of books, and I can say active blogger about these topics. So if you go to the website radakat.com, I'm actually active writing the blog posts there. So Charticulator. Today I'm going to talk about Charticulator, but before going to the topic, let's explain what we have about data visualization. So as you know, Power BI Desktop has been created in 2015, and in 2015 we have some standard visualization. So if you look at here, if you open your Power BI Desktop, you will see that visualization panel that exists from the start of creation of Power BI Desktop. Also in the same year, we have the capability to write R, to actually bring our scripts inside Power BI. There are many sessions on that. Also in past summit, I also present some. The other friends in community also have lots of interesting sessions about using R inside Power BI. Again, in that year, in the same year, 2015, we have the marketplace that actually is a place that Microsoft research team and also other partner of Microsoft partners create their own custom visual and import it there. And actually, everyone can go and download them. Most of them are free for now. After that, there are some creation of custom visual with JavaScripts come to mind that actually, again, in the same year, 2015, 2016. And again, there are really good vendors we have in that creating custom visual. It's going on, and in 2018 finally we have Python. So all of the things that you see from start to here, some of them are already created by Microsoft team or by a vendor, or some of them you need to write lots of code. For example, I was a person that a bit more involved with a custom visual with R. I remember some of the codes actually I wrote about 1000 rows, actually code rows to create that custom visual. So that's a huge, so it needs lots of coding. But now in 2019 actually we have a platform that we don't need to write any code on that. So it's actually, we call it a Charticulator. The name is Charticulator, and we are going to see that how it works. So Charticulator was created by Microsoft research team. They actually create a platform that you can create your own custom visual with just drag and drop environment, no coding needed. So it actually comes from the research. These are the people that actually initially work on that. But also, if you have any question about the charts that you created, you can access through the GitHub for the Charticulator. I can show you later and ask your question, and they are really responsive, and you can ask them question and they back to you very soon. So that's another challenge channel that we have. So before I'm going ahead, I want to show you the Charticulator environment. Okay, so going to the Charticulator website, so just search for charticulator.com, and so that's a website that we have. For example, I open it in Microsoft in actually Chrome, but you can open it in other browser. Just the important thing is that when you create a visual here, the actually history of the how creation is stay in your browser. Just showing you something. So if you are familiar with a JSON code and you want to access the behind the scene of Charticulator, as you see here, there is a channel, there is a way to access the source code. So you can easily click on that and you navigate you to the actually Charticulator link in the GitHub. And if you have any question here, you can actually ask also from them, or you can kind of see what's the behind the scenes. So if in case you are interested. So here, there are some gallery here. I'm going to show you some of them, but beside that also, if you kind of learn how to create these visuals, that means that you can create your own with kind of with a different format here. But it's really good to start to look at them. They are not really well documented. Actually, for example, they are just 1 minute or 2 minute actual explanation on them, and the data set and the thing is not that much clear. But for example, I'm trying to create some of them in blog posts and access to them. So if you're interested to learn some of them, I will put the link to the YouTube video that I've created about them, so you can learn more about them. But now just let's go and check out the environment. So this is the main environment that we have for Charticulator. You can drop or open your file over here. And for example, I'm going to bring a data set. That's actually about the author bestseller. And this is my data set. The data set that you're bringing, it should be actually CSV format, and it shouldn't be more than 1000 records of data. It should be smaller amount of that. So I'm going to bring it here. So this is my data here. And so here we have different things. So what is there? So for the first thing that you can see in the left side is the columns that we have in a data. So you see that we have different columns here, and each column is actually has different data structure. So for example, year is the year data that I have is kind of the categorical data, or we can consider as the ordinal. So the ordinal, icon is kind of the histogram. And for categorical, we have actually a kind of the symbol of the dot or the other. And also, for example, for the age is a numeric, is a continuous value. So you see that there is a ruler sign beside that. So that's a different actually things that we have. Also, you can check out your data value by clicking on that point on 3 dot, and you will see the data that you have here, the data type. So you see year, book title, and others. Also, there is 42 rows of the data and 11 columns that you can see here. If you want to change your data, you can easily click here to change it with another CSV file. Okay, so now we are going to create a simple scatter chart, but by explaining how to create, also I will show you how it actually work. So what I have here actually, as you see, we have marks over here. So as you can see here, we have marks here. So what is marks actually stand for? So that's the area I'm talking about this. So marks is related to the each data point that we have. For example, if you want to create a scatter chart, you can use some of the symbols that we have here. If you want to create bar chart, you can use. And all of these two is related to the each rows of the data that we have. And also here on the glyph also something that's related to the each rows of the data. For example, I want to create a scatter chart. So when I drag and drop a kind of the symbol from marks on here, if I just make it bigger, you will see about 40. If you count it, you can see there are 42 data point of the data. So here is actually on the glyph, you will see just one sample of that rows of the data here. So what do we have here? Here we have some layers and also we have glyph. So under the layers we have chart. So chart is actually the main page that we have. So is specify the dimension of the page, what's the background. So here for example is white, but you can change it to other color. So that's a actually background of that. And just make sure to you can change it to whatever you want. And also, so these are the area you're going to write. The other one is plot segment. Plot segment is actually is a dimension that you're going to create your chart. That is y-axis, that is actually here, and the x-axis. You will plot segment can be just here. So you will see that actually for the each rows of the data, what we have here. Okay, so under the chart we have a segment. Also beside that segment you can have also a so it's not just actually a 2D region. You can also have a one actually line of the data that also can be used. So instead of having the y and x, you can have just one line of the actually axis. You can change it, but for this example I keep that. The title, that is the title of the chart, so I'm going to change it to the scatter chart. I change it to that one, and you can change it. So the plot segment and the title is valid for the whole chart. They are related to the whole chart element. But we have another actually category that is different from chart is glyph. Glyph is related to the each rows of the data. So here, for example, each of these data points that we have here, they are part of the glyph. So you see that the symbol that I actually drag and drop from here to here is actually they are part of the glyph. That means they are related to the each rows of the data. So this is the one. Now I'm going to actually put something for x-axis. So I'm going to put number of the pages for the x-axis. I put it here. And also I'm going to put the rating sum for the y-axis. So now you can see that is actually I have a data point. Let me change the color of the background so it's become a bit clear. Yeah. So you will see that now is actually so similar to actually a chart that we have here. So now for the each data point, also I want to show the year as a legend. I want to, because these books has been published in different year, so I'm going to actually to drag and drop year as a color of these data point. So how could I do that? So symbol is glyph, is related to each data point. I click on that. Under that I have attribute, and you can see that I have different options. I can kind of the color of that, the stroke, that's a line around the circle, and something else. So I'm going to drag and drop year as a actually as a color. So you see that I can drag and drop year to the shape, to the fill, to the stroke, to the capacity. So you can actually have different options for data drop. So you can manage it with different data. So here you see that it's become different color. So I need a legend. So to create a legend, you will see that beside the field, we have an option named bind data. I'm going to click on that, and under that I can see the different years that I have in the data. So I said yep, add legend, and legend is actually become an item that appear under the chart. So this is legend, and I can change the position of that. So for example, I can say I want vertical or horizontal one. So you can change it based on the direction that you want. So these are the direction that we have. Moreover, also you can kind of change the orientation, change the size. For example, I want each of these data points have a specific size based on the rating counts of the book. So I'm going again, click on the symbol. So in this time, for the size here, instead of 60, that is constant for all symbols, I'm going to drag and drop rating count for that one. So now you can see that I have different size of the circle here. For example, sometimes you are not happy with the size, you want to have some bigger and very smaller one. To do that, again, you can click on the bind data here, and under that you can change that one. So you can start from, for example, 100 to 2000, for example. So it's actually help you to have a bigger or smaller one. In some scenarios also you want to actually, for example, there is another problem with this chart, is that in my data the actually minimum number in x-axis was actually located on number 100. I want to change that. I want that the start of the chart shouldn't be 100. I want to be 0 or something like that. So I'm going to click on the plug segment. Under the plug segment I have the range that starts from 100. I change it to 0. Just be careful that it is x-axis and numerical. I can do the same for the y-axis and I change it to 100. So now it actually looks a bit better. Again, you can change that one. For example, you can make it, because it's so close to the actually to the legend. So again, I can go and set for the y-axis, I want to, instead of finish on 1000, I want to finish on 1100. So it's get a space from there. So that's a kind of the different things that you can do to make it in the same scale. Again, for the symbol, I'm going to add the stroke for that to make it black so we can have a nicer one. So this is my scatter chart that I have here. I'm going to save it. So when I click on the save at the top, it's going to save it inside my browser. So for example, if you have a Microsoft Edge, it's going to save there. So if you open your, for example, your Chrome, you couldn't see them. You just, when you see them, it actually should be on the Edge, not in the Microsoft, not in the Chrome. So here I'm going to change it to the scatter chart, and I say, yep, save it here. And now I want to export it. So here we have an export. You can export it as an image. You can export it as a Charticulator template or HTML. For the Charticulator template, it happens when you want to create nested charts. So that's really helpful for that scenario. Or you want to change it as a Power BI visual. So here you can see that we have some data mapping. So there maybe you want to say, I want to have a legend. This is, for example, X. This is, I believe, Y. This one was size. So I want to actually be general through that. Also, I want to have an auto scale. If the scale change, I want to do that. I want the objects that I have here. If you have a drill down data, you can enable that one. And I said custom, for example, scatter custom visual. And also if you have an icon, you can do that. So I'm just going to bring it and save it into my actually there. So it's going to save a PBIVIZ file for me. That's actually is a file for custom visual. And now I'm going back to the actually my Power BI. I'm going to bring the same data set here. This is the same data set that I have. I will have a discussion. I have a blog post actually about the how many rows of the data can we handle and the other. I'm not going to talk it now, but actually you can use that one. So for specific rows of the data, it's become a bit different. So just bring the data is again CSV file, load it. So now I'm going to actually to bring it to my standard panel. So to do that, you see that we have a 3 dots here. So I'm going to click on get more visual. The second option is about import a visual from file. So I'm going to bring it, import. And under the download, I have this one. So I bring it here. So this is my chart. So you can see that on the data field, I have legend because I put that name X, Y, and size. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to bring it, page count, page number, rating. I think rating count was that. Just make sure they are not summarized because the data is not created for the summarized data. So just make sure they are not summarized. And also, for example, I put the legend for year. Again, year should be summarized. So this is my data that I have. Again, under the format, you will see that we have access to some format. For example, you can change for the each symbol, you can change the line around the circle stroke. You can, for example, okay, change it to 5, something bigger or something, whatever you like. And also change the title. You can change the title, whatever. You can change the format of the legend, but you couldn't change the position of that. That's a kind of the different one. You can just align it a bit, but it's become a bit kind of tricky through that. So just be careful about that one. So, and also you can change the size, the minimum range, the maximum one. So for example, you can change it to whatever you want, make it bigger or smaller. So that's another one that you have. All of the data actually format we have is not there, so I couldn't say that we can apply all of them here. Okay, so just take a bit time to just make it back to the normal. Okay, so you can actually change that one for the chart. Also you have, so there are some limited actually format here, so it's better to actually to create your format in the Charticulator, then bring it here. So this is the one that actually we have. So it's also the good things about that is kind of responsive to the slicer, and you can actually slice and dice the data based on that. Or for example, if I have a data like this and I said the gender, something like that, and I can slice and dice the Charticulator based on them. So if I just move it, you can actually slice and dice based on that, or vice versa. You can click on each of them and slice and dice. So it's two ways actually interaction happen. You can definitely manage that one by edit interaction over here. You can filter or don't filter or highlight it over here, which we don't have it in the R custom visual. We don't have it there. So just back to the actually what we have to the slides. So you see that actually how we can use the marks to create that one. So we create that, but also there I will show you in another example that for the each data point of the data we can have a text or we can have a image. We are going to look at the text one. So for example, that's another chart that I'm created. So these are the histogram that we have, and I put the flag of the each country beside them. That's actually is another one that you can import the image using the bar chart over here. So let's go ahead and check the other possibilities that we have here. So this is another example that I'm going to show you is about a data set about the CO2 pollution. So we are going to check to emission of the actually CO2 from the manufacturer, and we are going to see that how's the ranking of the different country. I'm going to bring the data over here. So the data set contains about 195 rows of the data. Is about different countries, about 9 countries in actually in different years from 1990 to 2011, if I'm right, and about the emission value. The data may be a bit different, so because of the kind of the thing, so the data maybe is not valid, so kind of don't pay attention to the numbers, it's just for visualization purpose. So and also we have another columns that shows the ranking in that year. So we are going to see that how we can show it. So The first step is that I want to show the year under the x-axis, so I drag and drop the year to the x-axis. Just pay attention here. When I drag and drop actually any value to the y or x, it's become orange. That means that it's selected. Otherwise, it doesn't drag and drop there. Also for the rank, I want to put the rank on the y-axis. For the y-axis is actually is 1 to 9, and so actually I want to show it in the other one. So on the plot segment from range 1, you see that if I click on the plot segment over here, if I just show you, you will see this is plot segment. Under the y, actually because it's a y-axis, I have a data range start from 1 to 9. So it should be vice versa. That means that 9 should be here and 1 or should be over here. So I'm going to actually to change it. So I put 9 here and I put it 0 because I want to have a bit step, and also maybe I change it to 10 to have some space from the bottom. So start from 9 to 1. I just put more to have some space. So this is my x and y axis. I'm going to create the first scatter chart. It looks like a scatter chart. So I drag and drop a symbol over here. So you see that I have 195 actually dots here. Again, because it is based on the each rows of the data. So I have this data here. I want to actually, because each of them belong to different countries, I want to color code them. So I click again on the symbol. I'm going to drag and drop the country to the field. So here, actually, for the, if I want to show it again, under here, under the symbol, under the attribute, I have the value of the field. So I drag and drop the country to the field here to make it color coded. So now you can see that you can see a trend. So this is specific one country that was ranked 1, but in actually 2006 is actually the emission amount decreased, and actually that country now is level 2 in the rank 2. So I want to see the name of the country. So yes, I can add the here on the field of the data. If I click on the bind data, there is an add legend. I can use that one if I click, but it's very hard to read because, for example, for this one, for example, I need to check where is the pink, and again going through that is a bit hard to follow. So I just ignore that one. I just remove the legend from here. Just click on eraser, and I'm going to add a text for the each data point. So that means that I need to come here. So here what we have here, we have actually two type of the text. So one type of the text is like a title of the chart. It's constant and is located on the chart under the chart category. We have another type of the text that you can see there is a dot beside that. That actually is related to the glyph, to the each point of the data. So I'm going to drag and drop that one to the here. So click on here and put it on the middle. So now you see that for the each rows of the data, I have that. Definitely, I don't want that for each rows of the data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually drag and drop the country name for that text. So just look at here that we have under the glyph, we have text. We have this one, we have text here. And also you can see that actually we have we able to drag and drop the country to here. So I'm going to country to the text. So now you will see that it is not really readable. So I need to put some kind of filters on that. To do that, we have the option name visibility that is set conditioned by. So I'm going to set I want to condition. I just want to show for the last one. So you can set just to the last one. And I said clear to all of them. And just show me for example, 2011. And now you can see that's actually showing for the each rows of data. I can do some more data transformation here. I can, for the text, let me show it on that side. Also, I want that the color, also text should be color code. So I'm going to color code the text. So here under the text one, or we can change it, that one, instead of text one, we can set country name actually, so you can change that one. And also for this one, to not mix that, I said chart title. So that's a chart title, that's a chart country name. So for the each, actually one of them, so here I want to, so we have a color here that is black. I want, instead of the black, we have the country to be color coded. So now you see that I can drag now what is happening here. Again, you can see that, so there is something missing again here. The one that is missing is about the connection between the rows of the data. So that means that you can see the trend, so there is a, should be something like this. So I prefer to see a line to show me this trend. So at the top, we have a link that actually showing us that. So I'm going to create a connection between each data point based on country, because there is a trend based on country. So just make sure that in your data you have that connection. So I'm going to create a connection based on that. So you see that now I can drag that one. You can see it's going up and then going down. And now I have another element under the chart that actually is a link, and you can see the link type is line. I make it as the arc, so it's become a bit different. And also, as you can see here, so it's kind of show me that what is happening here. So you can see the each country, what will be happening. You can also, for example, I think that the chart size is a bit big, so I'm going to smaller that one. So just make it smaller and also make some space so we can fit everything in one part. Another things that I'm going to actually change, I'm going to change the title. I said ranking chart. You can change it in the Power BI later on if you want. So, and also I want to change the background of the chart. So here is white. Why is white? Because if you click here, you see that this is white. So I'm going to change it to the, for example, a bit color, for example, something like this. And I want to change the color of the actually X and Y axis. So I can come here, and for the X axis, you see here again, if I zoom it, if you go to the plot segment under the X categorial, if you click on this three dot, you can change the line color and the actually text color over here. So I'm going to change it to the white one. I will do the same for the others. I'm going to change them to the white color. So now, actually that text also it should better to be a white one. So now is actually a visual that I have kind of readable. I can see that, and you can see that how it actually works. So now I'm going to import it to the Power BI. I just keep the things the same, and I just that one. It's not a scatter chart visual. I change it to the ranking chart. So I'm going to download it, going to the Power BI, bring the data set that I have, and emission again is a CSV file. Just make sure you bring the correct one. And now I'm going to import the visual that I created. So here, import visual from file. That was the actually in download the ranking chart. So here is better to have different icon. I don't have, so it's better to have it to make it difference. So these are the attribute that we need to put. So emission value. The rank. that was shouldn't be summarized. Year again shouldn't be summarized, just double check that one. And the country. Okay, so it's similar, something like this. So you can actually change the size over here. So what we can have here, so if you click on the visual under the data format, we have some actually general one. So we have the, for the link, we just have the actually the size of the link, so it's become a bit darker or just bold, or the other one, that's the one that we have. We have plot segment, we can change that one. So X data line color, you can change that one. Y data tick size, you can change that, and also you can kind of sort it descending or ascending, so that's actually impact on the data. So that's a kind of the another data point that we have here. So we have different symbols. That's the symbols is a dot that we have. You can change the text if you want. You can change the actually the size of the legend over here, so you can make it a bit bigger or smaller. You can change the title, the ranking chart, so Power BI, you can change that one. For the chart also you can specify the margin of that and some. So you see that still we have some limited actually variation here, so that's become a bit make it kind of less flexible, but I'm seeing that is progressing and they are adding more things to do that. So this is another one that we have. So I'm going to the actually last demo. I'm going to show you another one that actually has a different scenario. So on this one is actually, let me show you something here, what I'm going to create. I'm going to create a chart, also it's available on the gallery, that is about the actually the have a polar chart or chord chart that we have here. So we are going to see that how it works. So for that one, I have a data set about movie Les Miserables. I have a data node. So if I just open it to show you what is that. So the data set is about the, actually we have name, so name of the each character, we have their ID, and we have the group. So they have different groups, so belong to the different group based on the episode that they were. Along that also we have another data that is the link between these people. So just let me open it. So so this is node, and we have a link that actually going to set which character appear in the same time with the other character. So we have two different type of data over here. So you see that it's kind of the parent child one, and the other one is a bit different. So I'm just going don't save. So now I'm going to actually so for that one in this chart the link was between the data, between the country, but on the new chart that I'm going, the link is between the actually two different files. So for the data I'm going to bring the nodes. So I'm going to bring the nodes here. So this is about the name of the people and in which actually scene, in which episode they are actually appear in the same time. And another one is another data set that provide the connection between these people, that they are actually in the same one or not, or how they are actually relationship together. So I'm going to bring the other one. So in this scenario, I have a data and a link. Just make sure that the structure of the data should be the same. So you see source ID and target ID. To be honest, the name should be exactly that one. So the title should be exactly target ID or source ID. So that's one, just done. So this is my data point that I have here. So I think it should be 77 rows of the data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag and drop this time a bar chart, and I want to, so these are the bar, I want to color code each bar based on their group. So I drag and drop the bar to the actually field that's related to the shape. So just again, just a reminder from the previous section, shape or bar chart is actually coming from the glyph. They are bind to the each data point, and for the coloring them, actually I data bind them to the country, to the group. You can bind them to the other value, but in this scenario I bind them to that one. So that's the one. So this is my data that I have. So again, let me change the one. So I said bar. So these are the bar chart that I have. Oops, bar. I change it to bar, so you can see that the chart title and the other. So now I want to make this chart as a polar. I don't want to see it as a kind of the bar one. So here at the top, you see that beside the scaffold, we have an option named polar. So I drag and drop the polar. You will see that the whole area become orange. So if I zoom out, you will see that whole area become orange. So I drag and drop it here. So now I have a polar chart. I'm going just to change the size a bit. So just change the size like this, and each data point, each bar you can see here stand for a name. So because if you look at the original data, for example, these people, Myrel, Napoleon, and the other all belong to group 1. So each rows of the data is actually has a name. I'm going to attach a name to each bar. So again, back to here. Again, same as the previous example, to attach a kind of the text to the bar, I need to use the text that actually has a dot beside that. So I'm going to drag and drop it here. And maybe not the best place, I just, okay, maybe here better. And then I put it in the outside of the bar. You can actually kind of just change it. So you see that any change that I did here, you can see in a bigger scale in this area. Just make it a bit out of that one. Let me bring it sometimes a bit tricky. So just a bit, yep. So now I can kind of do it. So now it's actually there. So for the text, again, you see that I have a text here that is about the character name. So instead of, I said character name, and I want the text should be the name of the each person. So I just drag and drop the name to the text. So you can see that one is a bit big, so I make it to 10. So now I have that one. Maybe I need to remove and move that one to the other side. So this is Les Miserables relation chart, and I just make it so just, yeah. So let me smaller that one. Okay, so now I want to create a connection to see that which character appear with who. So again, I need to access to the link. So here I click on the link. So here the link is a bit different. In the previous example about emission, you said that I create a link between the country, but here I can create a link between the data set. So here you see that by link data, I said yes, and I want to be aligned. So click on create link, and it creates some link actually between the data for me. This actually I need to the link, so it's here. If you look at here, I can say I want to see as an arc, and I want that each link data has a actually has a width. So I have an attribute on the link data name strength. I want that one to kind of shows the how much the thickness of the link should be, and just make it a bit nicer by changing the capacity. So this is my polar chart. So you see that how is easy without writing any code, I create a polar chart very easy here. So that's actually not kind of the magic, it's just working with that. There are other symbols that actually exist there. I actually on the YouTube channel I create some actually more explaining about each of them. So if you want to access the whole of the charts that you can see here, I kind of have some materials, free materials on YouTube, and also my blog post, you can check it out. But you see that how is much flexible. There are some limitation. One of the limitation that we have is about the scaling. When you bring your chart here, sometimes it's a bit not really match there. You couldn't change everything here. As you see, there's another one. Another problem is that with with the size of the data here, we couldn't have more than, I think, 1000 rows of the data. But in Power BI, you can have more than that when you import it. But still, so it is a new tool. So same as the other new things is improving. So for example, in about couple of months ago, we don't have that much format area here, but they adding that. Also, we don't have icon, for example. You can now bring your icon. So it's kind of progressing and improving, but in the same time, you can use it. So in some scenarios, there are products that they are in preview, but you couldn't use it. But this one, you can actually start and to use it and customize your chart. So if I want to show you some of the charts that I'm already created, for example, one of them is a bullet chart that we have. So if you go to the Power BI visualization from Get More Visual, for example, this is one of the scenario I did for a customer. They wanted different charts rather than we have in here. So if I search for yeah, that's one actually. So that one is actually the bullet chart. It's really doing great. So is you can have a one category here and it's showing a KPI about how we are good. So here I create that one using the data access. You see that that's AdventureWorks. First of all, that's AdventureWorks data that I have here, and as you can see here, we have different months. So these are the months that we have, and I'm going to analyze how we are good about selling the different bike product by different actually by different months. So compared to the sales amount last year, so these are the data that I have: year, month, sales amount, and sales amount last year. So for example, in this one you can see that I can compare both road bike and mountain bike there. So that's another thing. So if you find a visual in custom visual that works well, but you want to add some changes to that, so you can create that one here very easily. Less than an hour take to create that one, and you can use it in your organization. If you're talking about the security and things, so same as the other visuals that we have in Power BI, if you look at here, some of them has a blue tag. Actually, that means that they are certified by Power BI, and that's another different process. So any custom visual, if you want to be secure about the data, you need to certify that. So that's is not just to Charticulator, to any of them you need to do that. Some of them has, some of them doesn't have. So that's another things that we need to consider. So that's actually how we can do that. There are some other peoples that working in Charticulator that you can actually works on that. Some of my friends in Australia, New Zealand, and Europe and US, I know they are also working on that. So let's start using that, and if you have any question, I'm more than happy to be involved and actually answer the question that you have about them. So just back to the slides. So you see that how we can create. So you can create also a nested chart. So using the Power BI, actually you can create the You can create a nested chart. So for example, these are the chart that I'm created, but later on I use it, or I create a pyramid chart. Or in the example that I'm showing to you, you can have a custom curve. So here it's just a polar, but you can have a custom curve. So there are many huge options about working with this product. And if I want to talk about all of them, at least take about 4 hours talking and see that how it actually work. But it's really interesting tools to work. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm looking forward to, if you have any question about this, please email me or follow me on Twitter and send me email. I have some people in Twitter and the other ask me about the question about the working that they face problem, because it's a product that I'm myself exploring, not me, all of my friends. That's a new product, so we are exploring that how it works. So we're more than happy to see your comments, and if you struggle with something, I'm really more than happy to work on that. It's kind of the win-win thing. So please don't hesitate to email me if you have any question about Charticulator. Also, if you want to see, let me show you some of the videos that I have on YouTube channel. So here we actually have, I recorded some of them here. You can see some of the charts are available here. So the bullet charts, that custom curve, or for example, the creating with a map and the other ones. So just check it out. And if you have any question, I'm more than happy. So that's our actually Radakat. Actually, if you go to the Twitter and search for, in the YouTube and search for that one. Unfortunately, I couldn't create that much content on the blog post because it's about visualization and click and dot, so I couldn't actually create that much blog post. I mainly create material for these products on the on video, because it's easier to explain when using the video. And another things that I do, actually I try to, so you see that here, if you go to gallery, unfortunately they mention the data where it's coming, but you need to do lots of data transformation to do that. So for all of that videos, I created my own data set that works with that. So that's much easier to follow if you want to do that. But however, please check and let me know if you have any question. Hope you enjoyed this session. I recommend to also watch the other fantastic session we have in Power BI, and looking for your feedback. And also I hope you start to work with these amazing tools. Thanks so much.